Hello all and welcome to All Red. Arne Slot took America by storm as we got our first looks at slot ball across the pond. This is the channel that is all Liverpool all the time. It's All Red. Well, I want to give a shout out to my friends in Malaysia, Australia, Kurdistan, Nepal, Malawi, and Botswana. Thank you so much for your support. And we have been having some fun on the channel lately in the comments. Appreciate you all jumping in there. I feel like this community is really taking off lately. It's been super fun. Let's get into, I have seven takeaways from the Arne Slot American Tour. Well, it's the Liverpool American Tour, but it's the Arne Slot show right now because we were all dying to see what Arne Slot could do with our current team in such a short amount of time. And I, for one, was not disappointed. So I have 7 takeaways, and I'd like to jump right into those. And we're going to look first at the first one here, which is we can score, all right? We can score the ball. We saw a gradual progression, right? From, I think it was 1 goal, then 2 goals, then 3 goals. Our competition got worse because we played, Betis, and then, well, Arsenal was decent, but then we, played Man United. So, no wonder there. Sorry, just had to throw a little salt in the wounds there. Yeah, so we can score. I think it's clear. We were missing a large portion of our first team, a large portion. No Diaz, no Gakpo, no Nunez, no McAllister, no Trent, no Virgil van Dijk, no Allison. We were missing, at least half of our starting 11, I would say. And it didn't seem to be a problem. In fact, we got some really good looks at what Arne Slot can do with really any team that he is in charge of. And that is partly to score goals. We saw some really, really good looking goals. We're going to talk about here in a little bit as we get further down the list. But slot ball looks smooth, and it looks like it is going to produce a lot of goals, which is great. We love that. No injuries, at least no major injuries that I'm aware of. Maybe there's one or two, but I can't recall. Jones got a little knock in that first game, but he's back. He's fine. So no injury issues there, while we see Man United suffering quite a few in this preseason. So I'm not going to, right now at least, not going to attribute that to anything other than, we were lucky or whatever. But, Slot has a history of making sure his players are healthy to get through a season. And that's important. As we saw last season, that was very difficult. So not a huge breaking news item there, but no injuries means good news for Liverpool. Okay, we got to see some next level training tactics, and you see the boxing gloves there. I thought this was very, very interesting, getting kind of a first look at how Arne Slot is going to really prepare his players week in and week out. Now, I have a few user comments to walk through here that I thought were really insightful on why Arne Slot was doing some of the things that he was doing. This first one is from Het Apple Mosje. At Feyenoord, Slot hired a kickboxing coach for preseason, not only for cardio, Feyenoord was the fittest team in the league, but also to train aggression. Feyenoord came out of the data models to get the most ball recoveries in the final third, the only team above Liverpool in the top 7 leagues. I thought that was very, very interesting and really good insight. It's part of the reason why I think Slot was chosen, is because there are elements to his game that mirror Klopp. And yet, as we're going to see further down this list, once again, there are some differences between Arne Slot and Jurgen Klopp that I think are good. Here's another one from Aaron Cowell, P6X. I boxed and played football, and boxing fitness blows football fitness out of the water. Not only is he working on the boxing element, he is developing and improving fitness, strength, and hand-eye coordination. Slot is looking for Liverpool to become aggressive and hard to beat. I love that. This next one is from Glenn Perry, BS6XG. He said, depends on what he's trying to add. Used to do boxing training for squash at a high level. Upper body strength, yes, but also aggression, decision-making, and explosiveness through the lower legs with shifts of motion. I did Tai Chi for balance and stability then. Slot's a very holistic coach. If he didn't take LSC, he'd have gone to Bayern. He wants to elevate overall. Very interesting and promising for the players. Love that, Glenn Perry, friend of the show. And then final one here, it's Domain Mojo 2162, a Namibian watcher, which is awesome. Thank you very much. I thought Domain Mojo was very, very insightful. He talks about dark arts and slipping and sliding. But he mentioned, I'm going to try to find it here. He said it could be that he's decided to take it even further at LFC. Because Slot used to have the agreeable players participate in boxing to toughen up their character a bit. I thought that was very interesting. Toughen up their character a bit, make them less of a pushover, good for upper body strength and upper body movement also. I love that. I absolutely love that. And I was trying to think like, okay, who in the Liverpool team could be seen as maybe just a nice guy or a pushover? And you know, maybe somebody like a Kwanzaa who's still young, maybe even like an Alexis McAllister who's really tough, but kind of seems like a nice guy. Maybe a Trent Alexander-Arnold who, I get it, wasn't with the team, but these training tactics are going to be used throughout the season. So Domain Mojo 2162, love that insight. Fascinating stuff. And surely Slot knows the rigors of the Premier League. Probably the most physical league in the world. So, all right, that was a lot on the next level training tactics we got to see over here in America. But I think that's very important. Obviously, the work done behind the scenes throughout the season is almost as important. Well, it just fuels what the progress we see on the field. So, absolutely love that. And then, of course, we saw slot ball already in effect. Now, of course, not perfect. Arne Slot said that. He said, you know, we have a lot to work on. There were mistakes made and we're going to fix those. But we got to see some very, very fluid movement throughout the field. We got to see several players flourish, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. And just some of those, you know, you maybe have seen hopefully the highlights, or you've seen some clips around Twitter or the internet of a few sequences from those games where the passing was just beautiful. I mean, just one touch all over the field. The progression was fast. Players knew where to be. And I think we are going to see a lot more of that. And I think it's going to get even better because we're going to have our first team back and buying into that. So slot ball, I can't wait. I mean, it's already fun to watch. I can't wait until we get our best players playing in the slot system. Okay, Salah looks back. Salah looks rejuvenated, and that means good for Liverpool, and bad for everybody else. Salah was a standout player, and Slot used him primarily on the right wing, which, you know, I get it. Like, yeah, he's played on the right wing for Liverpool. He also plays as the 10 for Egypt, and he does well there. So I just, you know, and Slot's just used to changing people around. Maybe he still will, but it looks like Salah is going to be our right winger, which is not really all that surprising, but he looks rejuvenated. Perhaps the haircut has made him more aerodynamic, which is good because maybe he'll be a little bit faster. I will also say that along with Salah, Harvey Elliott is looking like a diamond. And I've done another video or two about him and talked about him in full effect. But this kid, Harvey Elliott, is only 21, and we are going to see great things from him, which I am very excited about. All right, I've got two names here. Carvalho is the first name I want to talk about. He's going to make it hard for Liverpool to say no to him. Now, I don't know if he wants to stay. I don't get him fully, but he surely made a case to stay and be a Liverpool first teamer this season. Now, there's still time in the window. They still could say, all right, we're going to cash in on, you know, the 2 goals essentially in preseason, which, you know, I'm not going to put a lot of stock into those, but Carvalho looked good. He looked good. And obviously Slot was very thin on attacking options this preseason, with the likes of Nunez, Gakpo, Diaz out. But Carvalho looked the part and certainly couldn't be a terrible fourth or fifth option on our, front three, as a left winger or as a 10. So Carvalho is interesting to me. We need to see more. 2 preseason games is not enough to say, oh, Carvalho's got to be a starter. He's got to stay with the first team. But I think we have a player on our hands. I really do. We saw some little tiny flashes of Coutinho there. And then Naoni, I put his name on here as well in parentheses. I don't think he's leaving by any means, but Naoni might have made a case to stay with the first team this season coming up. Now, obviously, he's very young. I think he's, oh man, is he still 17? I'm gonna look it up real quick. He is 17 years old. So very young, probably not going to see a lot of Premier League season time. But, hey, could be a solid name to put on the team sheet for some cup games. I think that'd be fascinating. And he looked really, really good in his short stint during this preseason. All right, I've got one more. And this one to me is very interesting because we got to see Slot on the Liverpool touchline for the first time. Now, if you followed Feyenoord or any other teams that Slot has coached, this will not be a surprise. I was curious to know, what does Slot look like on the Liverpool sideline? And he is very, very different from Jurgen Klopp, which means that Edwards and co. didn't want to go out and get a twin replacement for Klopp, to do everything the same way that Klopp did. We already kind of knew that. But to see Slot on the sideline, he is calm, he is cool, he is collected. When the cameras cut to him after goals, he would do a little bit like, interesting. And he would turn around and he'd do a little fist bump or a little high five to his staff. And there were no fists. I mean, again, this is preseason. It'll be interesting to see, like, in a close game, if Liverpool score a late goal, how does Slot react there? Does he get excited? I kind of hope he doesn't. I kind of hope he just stays calm and cool. But I don't think we're going to see, like, fist pumps. I don't think we're going to see him running on the field and giving Allison a hug, Those are Klopp memories we'll never forget as Liverpool fans. But I think we now have a guy who is far less emotional. Not that Klopp's emotions, we loved Klopp's emotions. Absolutely. That was Klopp all the way. That is not Arne Slot. Arne Slot is calm, cool, collected. And in a way, I could see that filtering down to the players, and having them remain calm, cool, and collected in the face of pressure. Arne Slot just seems like, I put this in the comments of a video last week, almost like that villain, right? The villain in the movie who just never breaks a smile, and he never seems worried about anything, but he just has a plan and it's always going to work. Except he's not a villain to us. Arne Slot is our manager. He's our coach. And I loved everything I saw from him. And by the way, a 3-0 win to United in the preseason, and Arne Slot says, yes, good result, but we have much to work on. And there were far too many chances. We have to work on, there were mistakes. And so that's what you want to hear. You don't want a manager coming in and saying, oh, fantastic result for the boys, couldn't have been a better game. We did everything right today. No, Arne Slot is committed to getting better I'm convinced if Liverpool were to beat Manchester City in the Premier League season 3-0, he would say the same thing, like, fantastic result for the boys, but we have much to work on, far too many chances, far too many mistakes, so we will work on them this week in training. That was a pretty good Slot, right? Hey, I'm working on my Slot. So anyways, those were 7 things. Now, I'm sure there were far more things that we learned from this preseason. Drop them in the comments below. We'll have a discussion on it. But generally very happy and very excited for Slot era to officially come to a start here in about 2 weeks. So up the Reds and up Arne Slot.